Okay, I am back. I fix that volume. Okay. Um, so I didn't get hardly anything done yesterday. Been working on some other projects. So I guess I'm gonna finish up those hands today, and I can get that done. And I learned something very useful, maybe useful to some of you yesterday. I was working on another project and got out a razor blade and had to cut some fabric, cutting it away, cutting it away, cutting it away, only to realize that I had Roberta's arms on the table underneath it and cut one of the ends of this shoelace off. So I had to replace it out with. It was pink yesterday. I had one lone brown one left over. So she's gonna have one brown arm and one pink arm. Doesn't matter. It's all gonna be on the inside. So clean up your workspaces, everybody. That's what I learned. Okay. Let me get out my pattern. You can see how clean my workspace is right now. Hello, how's it going? Okay, there's a foam hand I use on all of them. Oh. So I yesterday I made this, and look what I found in my little thing. It's almost identical to the one I made yesterday. So apparently I've done this before. Okay. So I get to do my favorite thing: glue on camera, put on my respirator. Probably could get away with. Well, downloaded your free practice puppet pattern, and it looks great. Thank you. Yeah, I that's very similar to the Tilly puppets the puppy puppets that I sell. I just made the mouth palette a little bit bigger and took a little bit of the snout off, but it works the same way. If you have any questions, I can alter the description. That was the hardest part of making that pattern was writing up all the descriptions and making sure it made sense. Um, so I think from here on out, I'm just going to do little videos. Um, I have 3 patterns basically ready to go. I just haven't had the time to write up all the instructions. So I think the video might be the way to go. I think I taped instructions on how to make that one, but I never did anything with it. It was back when, yeah, you may not believe this, but at one point I was really uncomfortable on camera. And when I filmed that other one, I was very stiff and I didn't like it. So I'll try and record that one again. In fact, the whole reason I make these little videos like I do is because I was trying to get better on camera. Oops. Yeah, I want to put up the Ben Franklin and maybe a little bit more. I have a couple of head patterns for dogs. I have the Max pattern, which is also the Eddie pattern, really. A Corgi pattern. I think those are basically the ones. The ones I have planned to put up there. Maybe make some money for me. I'm still picking up red feathers. I wonder where those are coming from. But thank you for checking out the website. I should update that neck pattern one because I think 3 inches of that jersey mesh is too small of um, a neck variance or whatever. I think I'm going to start adding 5 inches to it instead of 3. That'll make sense to all of you that actually download that that pattern. What type of puppets do you build? I don't know what to call you. It says Jesus loves you. Maybe that's your name. But what type of puppets do you build? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's. I mean, I guess that's what I largely do too. I came to puppetry kind of, through drawing comics, so I definitely have a comic edge to my my builds or animation edge look to them. Yeah, you may not be able to post it until the live stream's over, but I'll check it out later. I'm sure. Ouch. About to be demonetized. I clipped the very front of my finger with this scissors. I think I'm okay. You start seeing red stuff that isn't feathers, you know what happened. That's cool. You said you started building at the start of the COVID. I think this blade's just about had it. My grandfather always said, you never cut yourself with a sharp knife, you always cut yourself with a dull knife. So it's a good idea to get rid of dull knives. I never get cut. I never get cut by dull people or by sharp people either. It's always dull ones. Hey, Dave. That'll increase the value 100-fold. Blood, sweat, and tears. You just have to cry a little. You know, BJ always used to say that no puppet can truly find life unless you shed blood while making it. And I think that's probably true. I just kind of like scratched it with the tip of these scissors as I was doing it. I didn't actually cut it, but it sure felt like it did. Okay. I was up till the wee hours of the morning trying to make like a Dracula cake and ended up just messing everything up. It was satin, and I don't know really how to sew satin very well. Well, I sewed 3/4 of it correctly, and then I just couldn't figure out how to do the seam. But I had a walking foot, and that helped a lot. Okay, so I'm gonna get my hands out here. Here's my other hand. Here's the other hand. I got all these. Okay. Come on. I finally moved this camera to so it's not on the table, so it shouldn't shake as much. And did I remember my gloves? No, no, I didn't. Am I going to change course now? No, no, I'm not. I should though. Okay. Talk me into it. Like I said, they're right next to my. I don't know if you can even see them in the shot. So I want to get some glue on the fingers and on the plate here, but I don't want to get it on the rod if I can help it. Or the shoelace. They shouldn't stick to each other if I don't put the glue parts together. I tell myself that at least. I'm always trying to brainstorm on how to hold the piece I'm gluing without using my hands. I've gotten pretty good at holding with my hands, not getting much glue on them, but still I haven't figured out the perfect method. Okay, so what I end up running into is I get glue on the very tips of my fingers. And then if I sew the same day, I end up with glue or fuzz glued to my fingers. And I hate that. I hate picking all that fur off my fingers. So that's the whole reason I put on the gloves, because I'm going to be sewing in a minute. It's all stuck together. So I want to get this on here in such a way. See, the problem with gloves is it's pretty easy to put things in the wrong spot.
You can't feel anything. There's one. I'm trying not to glue the rod in place. There's one. I have to pretend to be making a left and a right. I probably should have clipped off the very corner of this thing. I'm doing a bang up job there. See, this is all because I'm wearing gloves. Okay. Yeah, I use Goo Gone and I have some lava shampoo, or not shampoo, lava shampoo. Some lava soap that helps. Okay. I'm going to put this everywhere except for the very end, very part where the um, the rod goes in, and I don't want to glue the shoelaces to itself like a helper. I'm trying not to use as much glue. It's making stuff too soggy. No, but usually she doesn't want me using contact cement. Um, I think she mainly uses or yeah. The question was if Stacy makes you wear gloves during a workshop. Um, she really only uses hot glue for most stuff, um, and that's pretty safe stuff. I mean, other than burning yourself, it's not it's not going to give you long term damage. Oh, these gloves are killing me. It's not the end of the world if you glue those shoelaces in place. It's just an annoyance. I'm always surprised at seeing the people that just do the fingertips on the side like this because you get such a better result when you go all the way around. It's a pain, but one. And try not to glue straight pieces of thread to everything. See, this would have been so much easier if I'd done this last night after I got off, like I said I was going to. This could have been outside. Could have not used a respirator. I'm not wearing gloves. Could have made all kinds of mistakes that nobody would know about. Something tells me I'm going to have to put a second coat of this on, at least in some places. Okay, I think I got everything. No, she didn't. It was made by the workshop. And it was based on some look at it's just full of sweat. It was made by the workshop, and it was made off of some drawings in a kid's book, I think, or an online
puppet that wasn't meant to be a puppet. So the first version of it was really big and hard to use. So I think it's been rebuilt since then. I'm just going to go along and I'm going to pinch this around. Some people say to do it, start at the fingertips and work your way around, but I don't really care. You don't want to glue the fingers together like I just did. Okay, there's one hand. They really only have to be glued well enough until you can get them into the hand. But it's good to try and do it as best you can. I mean, once they're in the fabric, they're not going anywhere. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm doing a bang up job. But I find that unless they're pinched, you really can't get them into the hand very easily. So, looks like I got all the way around. Yeah, I agree with the hot glue being difficult with foam. But, she does a lot of work with children, so I kind of understand it. I just don't work with children. So, no, I'm just kidding. All right. I think I'm done with gluing. I'm done with gluing until the next thing I have to glue, I guess. Okay. See if I can get these in here. Is that a better So I left this whole side open so I could do this. And I kind of squeeze everything together, kind of like I'm putting on a glove. And there's because the stretch goes this way. There's just enough give in it that I can get the hand inside there. Kind of wrestle it in. Spread out the fingers, making sure the fingers go in the right finger. Well, I was putting together one the other day, and I got a bunch of the fingers in, or a couple of the fingers in, and I'm like, oh, they're in the wrong finger. I'd take it all off. Yeah, see, I got the finger in the thumb there. All right, so there's one hand. That's exactly like the last one I showed you guys. But that's Ralph. Actually, this should be the right hand. I try to put the zip ties on the inside of the hand since you won't feel them as much. Wait. Okay, I was right the first time. There's one hand. It's a delicate dance of getting the fingers on without popping the seams. Conversely, you could sew them while it's on the hand. And I've done that too, but I think this is easier. Believe it or not. Did I put that on wrong? No. It's okay. It's important to get those fingers all the way up in there. Okay, there's that one. Okay, let me go get my fluff. So I kind of want to wrap the cord, the shoelace, so it's all the way around it. I don't want to put too much in there either because it kind of defeats the purpose of using the polyfill. I used to machine sew a good chunk of this part, or not, or I guess I machine sewed it. But what I was finding was that as I put it on, the arm would twist. So 9 times out of 10, the seam would go every which way as you were doing it. I didn't like that. I wanted to keep it straight. So this has solved that problem. Yeah, there's one arm. We try to use about the same amount of polyfill in each arm. I always think about Woody in Toy Story 2. We had more stuffing in one arm than the other. Every step along the way, I keep checking to make sure I have a left and a right arm. I mean, it's pretty easy to change it once it does it, but it's like, I just always feel stupid. Really, the only part that you need to be real careful about is when you're cutting the fleece, because there's a right side and a wrong side to it. All right, that's a good place to start. Okay. This would be great if I get these arms done today. And then it's just fixing everything I destroyed yesterday. No, I'm not going to use orange. Okay, so you've had the cut finger and the sweaty gloves. Now tell us a tear-jerky story for the tears. Oh, I don't know. Tear-jerker story. I can tell you one of my favorite childhood traumas. You want to hear it? Well, that didn't work. Let's try that again. All right. I didn't tie a knot in that other one correctly, and so cable undone. Sure. Favorite trauma? Yeah. Okay. So this isn't really a trauma story. This is a story from my childhood. Um, so I was about 3 years old, and my mom and dad both worked, or my mom worked for NCR, which is National Cash Register, and they used to have a place in San Diego. And every year they would have their company picnic either at SeaWorld or at the Wild Animal Park in San Diego. So this one year was at SeaWorld. Sorry, let me get this started, then I'll go into my story. Okay, so this one year it was at SeaWorld, and sorry, if I can get this knot started, then the story will be so much better. Oh my gosh. All right, let's try it one more time. Third time's the charm. I'm going to start my story after I get this knot started. And then it goes to black. You never find out what happened at SeaWorld. Okay, so I was 3 years old. We were at SeaWorld. And as I said, it was a company picnic. So I was there, and then my best friend, Jeff Holtis, was there. And we were both 3 years old. And we go over to Captain Kidd's Playland. And there was this giant slide there. And my dad said, "Do you want to go on the slide?" And I said, "Yeah." We go over there, and there must have been 50 kids in line for this slide. And it looked like it was a full 8 stories up, as far as I remember. But they were all quite a bit older than me, all in line for this slide. And so my dad's there with me, and we go all the way up the ladder. Guy, it probably wasn't that long of a ladder, but to my 3-year-old self, it seemed huge. It was one of those spiral slides. It just goes around in a spiral. But like I said, it looked like it was about 8 stories tall. And we stand in line for what seemed like an hour. It was probably 5 minutes. But we to go up to the top of this slide. And I get all the way to the top with my dad, and he goes, "Are you sure you want to go on this big slide?" And I looked down, and I said, "No, I don't want to go on the slide. It's too big." So he says, "Oh, that's fine. Let's go over with Jeff Holtis and his dad. They're over at the little slides." So we make our way all the way down the stairs, or the ladder. It was one of those ladders that zigzagged up, or staircases, and go over to the little kids area, and there's these 8 or 10 little slides, like maybe just as big as you'd find in any playground or whatever. So Jeff's there, and we start going down the slides, and my dad and Jeff's dad were at the bottom, and we did that for an hour or so, and then they said, "Okay, it's time to leave." And my dad says, "Well, do you want to go on the slide one more time before we go?" And I said, "Sure." So he goes back down to the bottom, and he waits for me, and I never come out. He's waiting, he's waiting, he's waiting. And I don't come out of the little slide. It was like one of those little tube slides. So he happens to look out of the corner of his eye, and just at that time, he said he could see me climbing up the giant slide by myself. And he took off running across the park just as I start to go down the slide. And I remember this. Now, I was only 3 years old, but my recollection is I was on that slide going down for a good hour. I'm going down that thing. I'm spiraling down. My shoes come off. My socks come off. I'm just screaming the whole way down. And I get to the bottom, and 2 arms swoop me up, and it's my dad. And he says, "I'm so proud of you. You did that all by yourself." And I said, "Well, you said I should, did I want to go on the slide?" And he said, "Yeah, but I meant the little slide, not the big slide. Like, you were really brave to do that slide all by yourself." And anyway, then we went home. So there's my story. Stuck the ending, but that was my story. I mean, he did have to pick up my shoes and socks and put them back on me, but. And then a couple years later, I went back to SeaWorld and looked at that slide, and it was tiny. I couldn't believe I was so scared of such a tiny slide. But I totally remember that. And I don't think it's because my dad talks about it, because he doesn't. He just told me about it, when I would start to talk about it. He'd say, "Oh, yeah, I saw you out of the corner of my eye and took off running." But I remember that the little slides, there was one that was like those the old style laundry wringer things or paint rollers. It was like made up of those. So you went down sliding on the those rollers all the way down. So I don't feel like that's something my dad would remember. And that's what made me become a puppeteer. I need to put more stuffing in this arm. No, it was that big. I took actual measurements, and they actually decided to shrink it the next year. Oh, no. I told that story to the kids. My friend and his kids and I went on a camping trip a couple weeks ago. I told that same story to them. I tell them stories about my childhood traumas. they'll feel better about themselves. Well, you're not seeing anything. Sorry. But Captain Kidd's Playland was not really that fun. I mean, it was a lot of like really cheap carnival games at SeaWorld. And I remember they had what seemed like an endless area full of punching bags, big punching bags. And I went in there as a 3-year old and got punched by another kid. Not that he punched me; he just punched the punching bag, which knocked me over. Yes, I've seen big fish. My story remind you of me of him. I mean, I can see how you think I was like Obi-Wan Kenobi, but there's something pretty satisfying about finishing these arms. I mean, again, this puppet's been sitting on that wall for a good 12 years. I think I started working on her again around the time I was working on C3PO and then lost interest or got to a point. I might have gotten a job where I needed to do something else. I'm debating whether I'm going to repaint these eyes or not because they did clean up really well. But I don't know. I'm just afraid that if I paint them, then I'm going to have to deal with chips. Yeah, exactly. There was a while there where Ewan McGruger was Gruer was Ian McGruer was playing a bunch of younger versions of real people. He did it in that movie. He did it in the Christopher Robin movie. He did it in Star Wars. I think it's just funny that he would kind of be a body double for all these people. I got really off on that thing, but I'm not going to worry about it. Then I'll make those washers. But there's one arm. Great. Oh, I still have these glasses. Okay. No wonder I can't see anything. Okay. I take them off now. I need them to thread that needle again. I'm going to finish up a commission tonight, except for the Dracula cape. And then I'm going to, because I had to order another one because I ruined the one I had. And then I think I'm going to make a bunch of arms because I need to have them for another commission. So I'm telling all my friends and family, I'm back in the game. I got enough work to do. I got real work to do. Oh. I have to, or I had to go for costume fitting today, which is kind of exciting. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. It was exciting. My days of being a temporary bum are temporarily over, I think. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Did the mic go off? Maybe it's just the constant deluge of planes. Let me kill it and see if I can get it to restart. Hello? It's muted. Is it still muted? I think, you know what? I'm also really behind. Maybe I'll just, sorry. Can you hear me now? Is that working? I hope it's working because I was telling all kinds of secrets about puppets. Hmm. Is that working?